Hello and thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA this Friday. I'm Naja'atu Tijani with updates from across the country. President Muhammadu Buhari has lauded the Republic of Chad for what he calls the effective security backup to Nigeria in the renewed battle against terrorism and insurgency. This is while receiving in audience Mr. Ahmed Umar Ahmed, a special envoy of President Idris Deby Itno. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari said the need for effective collaboration on security between Nigeria and her immediate neighbors informed his first trips to such countries immediately on assumption of office in 2015. Nigeria, he said, needed to work together with her neighbors towards confronting the common enemy of peace, stability, and sustainable development, as the people are not only the same but also share similar cultures. President Buhari wished the Republic of Chad best of luck in the forthcoming general elections coming up in April this year. The special envoy, Ahmad Umar Ahmad, had told President Buhari that he bore a solidarity message from President Idris Deby Itno on the security situation in Nigeria. The message, he said, also contains words of encouragement for Nigerian troops now working hard to end terrorism and insurgency in the northern part of the country. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello says lack of adequate intelligence gathering might be one of the major causes of insecurity in some parts of the country. He said this during a press briefing, but however gave the reassurance that the students and all others in captivity would be rescued unharmed. Hussein Musa reports.
Governor Abubakar Sani Bello says government is interfacing with relevant stakeholders to ensure the safe return of the students and other abductees.
Our utmost priority right now is to make sure we never home safe. That's exactly what we're going to do.
He notes that movement of herders from one place to another is no longer viable because most of the cattle routes have been converted to farms as a result of the growing population. Hence, the need to include herders in government policies and programs.
Because it's better to prevent than to allow this to happen. The village head, the ward head, should be able to know people within their domain. They should be able to alert us when they see suspected people within their domain.
The governor disclosed that government is proposing to dialogue with all Fulanis across the state. He was, however, quick to add that efforts are on for the construction of perimeter fencing in all public boarding schools across the state. Emena Hussein Musa, NTA News.
Similarly, the Secretary to the Government of Niger State, Ahmed Ibrahim Mateni, has appealed to bandits across the state to lay down their arms and embrace dialogue and reconciliation for peace and security to prevail. Ahmed Mateni made the plea in Dutse Magaji during a peace dialogue with bandits and their commanders. Calling on criminal elements like kidnappers and cattle rustlers to join the peace process, the Secretary to the State Government, Ahmed Mateni, who was accompanied by renowned Kaduna-based Islamic scholar Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Gumi, said this would put an end to the security challenges bedeviling the state. He further enjoined the commanders to support government secure the release of passengers of the Niger State Transport Authority and students of Government Science College, Kagara, adding that the unfortunate incidents in the recent days call for sober reflection. Ahmed Ahmed Matani reaffirmed that government would continue to ensure the security of lives and property through strengthening the security architecture of the state, hence the need for people to collaborate with government in its determination to rid the state of all criminal activities. SSG Ahmed Matani stressed the need for religious leaders and other stakeholders to embark on how to get the bandits, kidnappers and cattle rustlers to key into the peace initiatives of the government. Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Gumi expressed optimism that dialogue with the bandits would put an end to the current insecurity in the state and country at large. Sheikh Gumi reminded the bandits that Islam is against taking the lives of innocent people and appealed to them to embrace peace by laying down arms. The Islamic cleric told the bandits that he would continue to discuss with the state government to explore whatever assistance and support government would give to them with a view to achieving the set objectives. Some of the commanders in their separate remarks applauded the state government for the peace process, stressing that it would go a long way in restoring peace across the state. The bandits appealed to the state government to assist the release of their members arrested by security agencies and detained across the state for the peace process to thrive. The highlight of the occasion was the distribution of Islamic books to the bandits by Sheikh Ahmed Gumi so as to teach them the doctrine of Islam. Meanwhile, guests on Good Morning Nigeria are advocating adoption of the modern concept of security through enlightenment of students, teachers and parents and what to do during emergencies as part of security measures in securing soft targets in Nigeria, especially in schools across the country. Alika Opanachiarua monitored the discussion and now reports.
Incidents of school children abduction by bandits in Nigeria is becoming a recurrent decimal. Discussing the latest incidents at Government Science College, Kagara, guests on Good Morning Nigeria explained that community participation is key as human resources are limited and government alone cannot fight insecurity. They therefore emphasized the need for threat detection and deterrence measures in schools.
Detection could be as simple as having vigilant night guards or even vigilant schoolmasters. In secondary school where there's always the duty master. He goes around with his torchlight. He could be the first person that will signal, the entry of those people there.
They also advocate security force multiplier through enactments of national guards.
We need to know where the soft targets are, what the threats against these soft targets are, because that's going to inform how much countermeasures we are going to put around those soft targets to ensure that they are not exploited.
Talking about our government, if we really want to make our schools a bit more difficult for these bandits to access, we must take over no man's land. No man's land is what I want to call the fringes and the wilderness, where they camp. Taking over no man's land, fast-track approach and long-term approach.
For prompt response to security needs of the people at the local level, the guests suggest bringing governance closer to the people. In Abuja, Alika Opanachi Arua, NTA News.
And still talking security, bringing government agencies to work together for national development, especially in the area of security, was the focus of a synergy visit between the Ministry of Women Affairs and the National Institute for Security Studies. The National Institute for Security Studies is incorporating government MDAs into its plans, hence the visit by students of Executive Intelligence Management Course 14, aimed at forming strong synergy between different arms with national development in view. The Minister of Women Affairs described the course as timely, considering the level of social violence against women and girls, adding that experience gained by participants would help in curbing the numerous social vices in the country.
I believe that these groups should be able to contribute to strategies that will help in designing appropriate mechanisms to address women issues before they degenerate into conflicts that would be difficult to address for durable peace and economic development.
Participants are drawn from 21 security agencies, including 3 ECOWAS countries of Gambia, Liberia and Ghana. They are undergoing a 10-month course on governance, security and national development. Community policing is key to effective policing, says the new Delta State Commissioner of Police, Ari Mohammed Ali, as he tours all area commands in the state. Rosemary Omani reports that this time the CP, in company of his deputy Falai Olale, visited the Saple area command.
Achieving a more peaceful state where Deltans can sleep with their 2 eyes closed and businesses thrive without hindrance from any criminal is the topmost priority of the new police boss. And one of the strategies in actualizing this objective is by visiting all area commands to solicit partnership with communities, especially their royal fathers and other stakeholders in crime fighting.
We have to encourage them. We cannot police alone. We need their support. We need everything humanly possible. All we are set to achieve is to take Delta State to a greater height.
I appraise the security situation and come up with the following pragmatic and proactive measures: establishment of strategic and well-manned nipping point on all exit routes from the various divisions.
CP also visited the Roger of Okbe, His Royal Majesty Ore I, Major General Felix Mojapero, for same purpose.
Courtism is a serious problem here. We have their own vigilante, the way based on the IG's instruction, the community will tell the names of the people. These are the people who want to develop them. They will give it to the district head, who will now take the names to the DPO to investigate them.
Rosemary Omani, NTA News.
Operatives of the Abuja Zonal Office of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, have uncovered another underworld academy for the grooming of internet fraudsters. The so-called academy, located in Arab contractors area of Papi Hills, a suburb of Abuja, was discovered when operatives acting on intelligence stormed the base on Thursday, February 18, and arrested 27 internet fraud suspects. The coordinator of the academy is said to be a 30-year-old Emmanuel Clement, and his students are mostly young school leavers, ladies inclusive, within the age range of 18 and 25 years. Items recovered from the suspects include a Toyota Venza car, 30 mobile phones and 1 laptop. In a tweet, the EFCC said the suspects will be charged to court as soon as investigations are concluded. The Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters is advocating reforms of obsolete laws in the country to meet the current realities in the nation. This was the consensus at the screening exercise of Commissioner nominees for the Nigeria Law Reform Commission to represent the Southeastern Zone. Dayo Ogunshola reports.
The presidential nominee is one of the full-time commissioners nominated by President Muhammadu Buhari to represent the Southeast Zone after the first nominee failed to appear before the committee. Chairman of the committee says solving issues facing Nigeria demands the laws of the nation must not only be strengthened but also be reformed to cater for the interests of all.
In the event that your appointment is confirmed by the Senate, we implore you to bring on board your antecedent as an activist, as a scholar, and as a patriot, because the Law Reform Commission, the Nigerian Law Commission, has a lot to do to ensure that, you know, the obsolete part of our law is reformed and redeemed to be able to meet the challenges and demands of today.
Other members of the committee put the nominee to question, especially on how to bring to bear his wealth of experience if confirmed as commissioner of the Nigeria Law Reform Commission.
What is the value of education and intellectualism or scholarship if you cannot put it to practical use? All my writings, they are all writings that are geared towards reforming the law so as to make it conformable with the demands of present-day society.
The report of the committee will be forwarded to the Senate plenary for further legislative action. From the National Assembly, Dayo Gunshola, NTA News.
The Nigeria Customs Service is projecting a revenue generation of 1.465 trillion naira in its 2021 fiscal year, as submitted by the Comptroller General, Nigeria Customs Service Hamid Ali, during his 2021 budget defense before the Senate Committee on Customs, Excise Duties and Tariffs. Mobolaji Moribirin reports.
Presenting the achievements recorded by the agency in 2020, the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs disclosed vast the initial revenue projection for 2020, which was 1.679 trillion naira, but later reviewed to 1.380 trillion naira due to COVID-19 pandemic. He, however, said the agency generated the sum of 1.562 trillion naira in 2020.
The revenue target for NCS in 2021 financial year is set at 1.465 trillion, consisting of 1.267 trillion for federation and 198.00 billion for non-federation.
Members of the committee, while scrutinizing the proposed budget, advised the agency to do more in revenue generation.
It's a good thing that this reduction of this vehicle tariff which you have done, and it's a nice thing for all of us in this country, so that the idea of smuggling cars to Cotonou, thereby destination Nigeria, will stop, and it will enhance your revenue projection.
In anticipation of what is going to happen, make sure you put scanners at all the borders. And all those ports that are not working now, try to put something there.
The committee adjourned with call on the service to clarify on funds allocated to it for recruitment within the last 3 years. From the National Assembly, Mobolaji Moribirin, NTA News.
It's now time to join Adeola in our Lagos Network Center for more on Nationwide. Hello, Adeola.
Jata, good to see you. The Lagos Economic Summit has ended with a unanimous decision to invest more in information technology, youth-oriented policies and programs with a view to harnessing the full potential of young people for overall development of a state. Musa Toliat has details.
It was 3 days of intensive deliberations aimed at showcasing the opportunities and analyzing the challenges of achieving full economic potentials of the state. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said recommendations of the summit, especially on youth development, will be given priority to aid implementation for the vision of Lagos State to come to fruition. Governor Sanwo-Olu and his counterpart from Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, joined the economic summit virtually from Abuja.
I count on the private sector to be aggressive in seeking out opportunities to partner with us and to support the Lagos State government. Government alone cannot make it happen.
And all of us, as governors, as Nigerians, associate with Lagos and support its growth and development.
Presentations from various plenary and breakout sessions were an integral part of the summit. The State Deputy Governor presented an 11-point communique on the 6 thematic areas of discussion at the Economic Summit.
The summit recommended that government continues to provide an enabling environment and support of technology ops across Lagos.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is very serious about this, bringing back Enugu after a 4-year break.
There's so much opportunity in carbon credits. There's so much opportunity in pollution control. Government obviously cannot do it alone.
The 21st Lagos Economic Summit, tagged Enyibeti 2021, had 6 thematic plenary sessions driven by 146 speakers and panelists, with more than 10,000 physical and virtual participants from within and outside the country. In Lagos, Musa Tolian, NTA News.
Now, Lagos, Nigeria's commercial nerve, in the year 2020 remained the center of attention due to a myriad of issues. The state had more than its fair share of social, economic and security challenges which took a toll on residents. Imolia Yotokede examines this trend of incidents that led to emergency situation and response by relevant agencies.
Data, according to the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, from January to December 2020, shows that a total of 1,024 emergency cases were recorded in Lagos.
If you look at the emergency that occurred in 2020 compared to the one that occurred in 2019, it's greatly reduced until October. Due to the COVID and SARS, we start experiencing another form of emergency.
Top on the list were accidents involving trucks and tankers to the tune of 411 cases, while road accidents involving vehicle and falling tankers had 331 cases.
80% of emergencies that involve articulated vehicle, you will discover that it's just carelessness, recklessness on the part of the driver.
Fire outbreaks as a result of gas and pipeline explosions, as well as truck and other vehicles, totaled 156 cases.
On the norm, you don't allow a gas plant to be within a residential area because eventualities can come up and such a thing, and even more fatalities.
12 cases of gas, pipeline and oil spillage emergencies were recorded in the year under review. The state also witnessed 36 cases of building collapse, as well as 57 cases of medical emergencies, including suicide, coronavirus, among other occurrences. The months of August, September, and December have the most prevalence of cases, which occurred mostly within Koshofe, Ikeja, Alimosho, and Lagos Island local government areas.
Most of the vandalism occurs in that area. And right now, because of the activities of our volunteers, information are getting out because we told them the impact of vandalism on their community.
The spate of these emergency incidents continues to ignite flames of worry among relevant agencies. There is a growing apprehension that with the effect of the Harmattan haze now hitting Lagos, these cases might surge if residents are not careful. In Lagos, Imoli Ayotukide, NTA News.
And those are the stories from Lagos. Nationwide will continue after this break. Please stay with us.
It's nice to know you're still watching Nationwide on NTA. The Federal High Court in Abuja has deferred its ruling on the bail application filed by Chairman of the defunct Pension Reform Task Team, Abdurrashid Maina. Olabode Arewa reports that the defendant was in court.
Abdurrashid Maina, who is being tried alongside his company, Common Input Nigeria Limited, was to open his defense when his counsel, Sonikatu SEN, moved a motion for Maina to be granted bail on health grounds and moved another motion to withdraw his earlier application to recall some of the prosecution witnesses. The prosecution counsel, Salisu Abubakar, however, opposed the bail application on the grounds that Maina had earlier jumped bail. He added that Maina absconded from Nigeria to Chad and Niger republics, claiming he went for a knee surgery, whereas his medical report indicates otherwise. Maina is facing a 12-count charge of 3.1 billion naira pension fraud. In another development, the court has summoned the civil society organizations shortlisted to monitor implementation of the $311 million Abacha loot. Justice Ian Gekwo issued the order after listening to the arguments from some aggrieved civil society organizations who felt shortchanged. Counsel to the plaintiff, Daniel Boala, told the court that the selection breached the provisions of the Public Procurement Act and as such should be discountenanced. Both cases have been adjourned to February 24. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
The Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, says road construction and development continue to be top priority of the Buhari administration in view of its role in the socio-economic development of the country. He said this during the inauguration of the newly completed Federal Polytechnic Nasarawa Road. Gose PV has details.
Since establishment in 1983, this is the first time Federal Polytechnic Nasarawa is directly benefiting from the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing Road Intervention Project. The 2-kilometer road infrastructure, according to the Minister of Works and Housing, represented was born out of desire to bridge infrastructural deficits in academic institutions.
We'll go around the country, we'll see what is happening, the road network, we see where we need to intervene, and government is really doing a lot. A lot of resources have been pumped into these road constructions. We hope that we'll continue to have this more.
Rector of the Polytechnic, Dr. Abdullahi Al-Hassan Ahmed, alongside lecturers and students, lauded the intervention, describing it as critical to knowledge generation.
I must confess to you all that the federal government has rescued our polytechnic from so many challenges with this construction of 2 kilometers.
We thank Almighty God for making it possible under the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari for seeing it worthy of awarding this 2-kilometer road to the Federal Polytechnic Nasarawa.
The 2-kilometer road begins from the main gate linking to major structures within the Polytechnic premises. From Nasarawa local government of Nasarawa State, Guse PV, NTA.
The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Ali Pantami, has expressed delight over the success recorded by the information and communications technology sector in the Nigerian economy in both the fourth quarter of 2020 and the entire year 2020.
The rating based on the fourth quarter of 2020 report of Nigeria's gross domestic product released on the 18th of February 2021 by the National Bureau of Statistics. Details of the release indicate that Nigeria's GDP grew by 0.11% year-on-year. In real terms, in the fourth quarter of 2020, representing the first positive quarterly growth in the last 3 quarters, an indication that Nigeria has exited recession. In real terms, the non-oil sector contributed 94.13% to the nation's GDP in the fourth quarter of 2020, as opposed to the 5.87% contributed to total real GDP by the oil sector. Notably, the ICT sector grew by 14.70% the fourth quarter of 2020, making it the fastest growing sector of the Nigerian economy in the last quarter and the only sector to have grown by double digits. The ICT sector grew at a rate more than 4 times the agriculture sector, which was the next fastest growing sector of fourth quarter of 2020, with a growth rate of 3.42%. Meanwhile, the telecommunications sector recorded an unprecedented growth rate of 15.90%, and this was its highest growth rate in the last 10 years. The minister notes that the giant strides recorded in the ICT sector are a direct result of the focused and committed efforts of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, the strategic policy directions of the federal government, including the National Digital Economy Policy for a Digital Nigeria and the Nigerian National Broadband Plan, amongst others.
Earlier on, we reported that renowned Kaduna-based Islamic scholar Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Gumi accompanied the Secretary to Niger State government, Ahmed Matane, for peaceful dialogue with bandit leaders. Our correspondent, Muhammad Hamis Urogo, spoke with the Islamic scholar after the meeting.
I'm here to continue my mission of trying to see we have peace, absolute peace in the whole Nigeria. Talking to the herdsmen, trying to listen to their grievances and see how we can stop this mayhem and carnage that is happening in the country. Yes, the outcome is very positive because if you have warring factions and each faction is saying that I have complaints and grievances, which are very simple, basic things, I think there is hope that is coming to an end.
Yes, what's their major complaints, sir?
Usually simple things. We are persecuted, we are arrested, we are lynched, And we are doing that.
What is your recommendation to the federal government?
Federal government is they should come and do to them exactly what they did with the Niger Delta militants. Give them a blanket amnesty. Then, if somebody will continue, then we deal with him.
Meanwhile, journalists are encouraged to understand the context and components of the 2021 budget for easy tracking of fund releases and execution of projects, among other indices. Omenka Amarachuku reports.
These are journalists from media organizations who, like many other stakeholders, have a role to play. As eyes and ears of the citizens, they are here to be equipped with on how to humanize the annual budget by digging out the challenges in budget implementation through data scrapping, analysis, interpretation, and visualization.
Most importantly, giving human face to our reports. I think I so much like that aspect of this training.
Not enough to say so trillions of naira have been budgeted. How does the truck pusher, how does it affect his life?
The Director General Budget Office of the Federation and other experts challenge journalists to concentrate on issues of human interest for the people to understand and also hold government accountable.
Journalists need to be, like about this matter so that they can in turn educate the rest of Nigerians, because the budget is so fundamental in the development of a country, and it's important that the citizens understand the budget and the budget process and make the best use of it.
This kind of workshop and training in order to enlighten journalists about all the rudiments they need to know about budgeting, its process, implementation, and tracking in order to hold public figures accountable, but ultimately to facilitate and promote good governance in Nigeria.
Yes. The training also touched on legal issues surrounding the Nigerian budget, as well as current trends in budget reporting. In Abuja, Omenka Amarachuku, NTA News.
Thank you, Omenka. Kaduna Network Center is our next stop, and Amina is standing by with trending stories. Over to you, Amina.
Welcome to Kaduna. All Progressives Congress APC Northwest Revalidation Committee says necessary arrangements have been made for the success of the ongoing registration and revalidation of its members. Suleiman Abdullahi Gachku reports that Northwest Committee of the APC Registration and Revalidation made this known during an interaction with party officials at the State Secretariat, Kaduna.
As revalidation and registration of new members of the APC, targeting 100 members in each of the 119,973 polling units across the country progresses, the Northwest Committee, comprising national and state leaders of the party, is out to collect complaints regarding the general conduct of the exercise with a view to making necessary amends. Responding to complaints from the State Registration and Revalidation Committee, additional forms are being produced and will be distributed to polling units across the country.
Give a chance to everybody to register. For example, now, I think is finishing on the 24th. So we are not sticking on that. We are waiting for the materials to come. If they come on until
we apologize for the poor signal. Perhaps we will return to Kaduna when we're able to. Now, the federal government is putting measures in place to address cases of rejection of Nigerian agricultural produce at international commodity markets. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohammed Sabo Nanonu, says Nigeria is losing more than $2 million annually over rejection of Nigerian beans and other produce in Europe. Musa Baba Aliu reports.
Since 2015, Nigeria has been having difficulties to penetrate European commodity markets as her produce are being rejected. The rejection is due to quality, packaging, as well as the application of harmful chemicals in preserving produce after harvest. Recently, the United States and some Caribbean countries also banned Nigerian dry fish and hibiscus from their markets due to issues relating to quality and packaging.
Also, the administrative part of it, the custom is involved. For port authorities involved, quarantines are so many agencies that are involved in the control of this thing. Why are we having this problem? And we cannot continue and giving excuses for this kind of thing that is happening.
To put an end to this, the federal government constituted a zero rejection committee that will look at the conditions Nigeria needs to meet before she will be accepted to trade in Europe and other countries.
The important committee is saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that produce of Nigerian origin are held to international standards. This will facilitate regional and international trades.
We need to increase sensitization, of the application of agro-pesticides. This is going to be multidisciplinary.
European Union and UNDP are out to support Nigerian farmers with the basic techniques and technology in the production and preservation of produce. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Thank you, Musa. The French government has restated its commitment to strengthening information exchange with Nigeria to aid in the fight against illicit drug trafficking in the two countries. The ambassador of France to Nigeria, Jérôme Pasquier, gave the assurance during a visit to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Abuja. Abdulmalik Hassan reports.
Establishing bilateral relationships with foreign nationals in the fight against illicit drug trafficking is a core mandate of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. This is because it is one of the key factors to achieving success in the war against illicit drug trafficking. Being a top guard in the fight against drug trafficking, the visit by France ambassador to Nigeria, Jérôme Pasquier, to NDLEA is mutually beneficial. The meeting discussed ways the two nations can move forward in the war against drug pushers.
The fight against drugs is a global problem. It cannot be solved country by country. We need international cooperation. This is what we have done in the past, but we are really willing to develop even more this cooperation with Nigeria now. And so we discuss the different possibilities to exchange of information.
I'm glad to say that we have received tremendous assistance from the French in the areas of training, equipment, logistics, even some tactical training including language training.
Guests say illicit drug use is a global scourge that requires collaborative efforts of all for progress. In Abuja, Abdulmalik Hassan, NTA News.
The United Nations says nations of the world are failing to take action in meeting with global goals for the protection of life on Earth and halting the degradation of land and oceans. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres and the Executive Director of the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, Inga Anderson, have officially launched a report titled Making Peace with Nature, laying out the gravity of Earth's triple environmental emergencies: climate, biodiversity, loss and pollution. Onengie Fineface reports.
Cities in the United States and parts of Europe are currently facing major winter storm, which is unleashing ice, snow and record cold on millions of people. This is an illustration of the interconnected nature of climate change, loss of biodiversity, land degradation, air and water pollution. The UNEP report on Making Peace with Nature identifies these as conditions that add up to self-inflicted planetary crisis that put the well-being of current and future generations at unacceptable risk.
The environmental emergencies that have been outlined in the report all flow directly from humanity's overconsumption of resources, overproduction of waste, and prioritization of short-term gain with the consequences of long-term pain.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres insists that ambitious and coordinated action by governments, businesses and people around the world can prevent and reverse the worst impacts of environmental decline by rapidly transforming key systems including energy, water and food to make use of land and oceans sustainable.
We are running out of time to limit temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius and build resilience to the impacts to come. And we also need equal urgency and ambition to address how we produce our food and manage our water, land, and oceans. Developing countries need more assistance. Only then can we protect and restore nature and get back on track to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030.
Transforming social and economic systems means improving relationship with nature, understanding its value, and putting that value at the heart of decision making. The UN wants world leaders to take concrete actions to protect the climate, conserve biodiversity, and reduce pollution. The report is launched ahead of the 5th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly. Onengiye Fine Face, NT News.
And Chinenye in our Enugu Network Center has more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Chinenye.
Hello, Naja. Welcome to Enugu. To drive the Enugu State Water Reticulation Project with a target of 40,000 cubic meters of water, the newly constituted board of the State Water Corporation has been inaugurated. Susan Eze has the details.
Sitting atop hills and with large deposits of coal beneath its earth, Enugu is no stranger to water scarcity. To drive the various efforts of the Ugwuanyi administration in tackling the challenge of water supply in Enugu, a new board for the State Water Corporation is here inaugurated. The state government targets 400,000 cubic meters of water, and this new board is expected to make it happen.
These laudable ideas and innovations of our governor are what we must not allow to be swept away. It will enable Enugu State to benefit from World Bank Sustainable Water Supply, Sanitation and Hygiene, which is results-based finance program.
Our promise is that we will do our best to meet the requirements.
Among some of the efforts so far made by the government include the commencement of the African Development Bank-funded Third National Urban Water Sector Reform Project and the rehabilitation of the 9th Mile Water Supply Scheme, of which 600 million naira contract was recently awarded for the project. As explained by Deputy Governor Cecilia Ezilo, the aim is to boost water supply from Oji River, Ajale, Eva Valley water schemes and solve the biting water problem of Enugu residents. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
Inclusive engagement, irrespective of gender in politics, has been identified as a positive game changer in the country's political sphere to ensure an equitable society. Chika Ugu reports that this was the thrust at a stakeholders meeting held in Enugu for increased women inclusion in politics.
Over the years, the male counterparts have dominated the nation's political space at the expense of the women folk, even when they are considered to be the majority. This workshop by Women Empowerment Education and Peace Building Initiative is aimed at increasing active women's participation in politics and decision-making process in the state and country at large.
And our mission is to raise women and girls to stand out in our society, participate in decision-making process.
The Resident Electoral Commissioner, INEC, identified culture and religion as some of the challenges preventing women from actively participating in politics in the country. He emphasized the need for women to be given leadership positions in their communities, adding that INEC has reviewed its policies to be aligned with the 35% affirmative action of women in governance.
We can help women a lot. Most political parties are already doing something, but they need to do more. The community leaderships need to do more. The religious leadership need to do more.
Participants were shared into 4 groups for a roundtable discussion. INEC, NSEC, civil society organization, and traditional rulers. This is to chart on possible solutions to women's marginalization in politics. They came up with the conclusion that sensitization, mentorship, financial empowerment, support are some factors that can increase women inclusion in politics. In Enugu, Chika Ogu, NTA News.
And that is our bit from Enugu. Nationwide continues with Niger State in Abuja after this commercial break. Do stay.
Thanks for staying tuned. Now we go to our Makurdi Network Center where Hembafang is standing by. Hello, Hembafang.
Tijani, welcome to Makurdi. The Benue State University community has been thrown into panic and mourning following the killing of one of its students by yet-to-be-identified gunmen. Elias Ichab reports that the students of the institution as well as the university community are calling for increased security in the area to put a stop to illegal gun handling.
Incidents of shootings and other forms of attacks in and around the Benue State University Makurdi have become frequent occurrences as these have continued to create panic among the university community.
There is no enough security for us in BSUs.
It's unfortunate that when you are in school, your lives are not secured.
The killing of a 300-level anatomy student, Jessica Agay, recently by yet-to-be-identified persons, has increased the fear as the students now call for increased security surveillance in and around the school.
Even outside of the school, like, and was it 4 years that we had some shootings in the school, but we cannot actually attest if those persons were students or not. If they can breach the gate, that means anybody inside is not safe at all.
Authorities at the Benue State University who described the incident as unfortunate say security has been beefed up in and around the school to rebuild the confidence of students.
This university will no longer be tolerated as a ground for practicing this evil. And the university has reinforced security measures on campus, which may not be for public view now, for public disclosure for now.
The Benue State Police Command, who confirmed the incident, says investigation has commenced to uncover circumstances surrounding the murder and that the victim's body has been deposited in the mortuary. In Makurdi, Elias, ATF, NT News.
That's it from Makurdi. Is over to Niger 2 for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Hembafang. Unfortunate incident at my alma mater there. Up next is Sports Update.